Welcome back to Rising. Lindsey, what is in your lens today?
I don't want to add to your gloomy mood, but I might add a little bit. As we head into the holidays, Americans aren't feeling the economic cheer. And the latest CBS News YouGov poll shows it's not just Democrats or independents saying that. Even Republicans are increasingly frustrated with the economic reality under President Trump. And they're not whispering about it. They're showing it in the numbers. So Trump won office promising to bring down prices. But 11 months in, prices are still climbing. Grocery costs more, electric bills are up. New cars, those price tags are breaking records. And the annual rate of inflation was 3% in September, almost exactly where it was on Inauguration Day. So if you're wondering whether voters are imagining the, quote, affordability crisis, the answer is no. They're living it every day. And that's why Trump's approval rating on the economy has dropped to just 36% today, down 15 points since March, according to the latest polling. That's a staggering drop in confidence for a president who built his political brand on being the businessman in chief. A majority of voters now say his policies are raising food and grocery costs. Even the people who judge him mostly on the economy feel he's not spending enough time actually fixing it. Here's the headline that surprised me. Republican disapproval is climbing too. 4 in 10 Republicans say Trump is portraying prices and inflation as better than they really are. That's not the fake news media. That's his own base calling out the disconnect between his message and their real-world receipts. The administration has floated some big ideas like a potential $2,000 stimulus check funded by tariffs and the idea of 50-year mortgages. But economists across the board say those proposals don't address what's actually driving the crisis. Tariffs are just taxes by another name, taxes on imports that businesses pay up front. Now, early on, businesses absorbed the costs, hoping the tariffs wouldn't last. But as tariffs have continued, companies have started passing more and more of that cost directly to consumers. Goldman Sachs estimates that the share of tariff costs pushed onto consumers has jumped from 22% in April to 55% by October, and could reach 67% by mid next year. In other words, the longer the tariffs stay, the more Americans will pay. If you want proof, look at your grocery store. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, grocery prices rose 2.7% in the 12 months to September 2025, with sharp increases in things like coffee by 18.9%, ground beef 12.9%, and even bananas went up 6.9%. Since Trump took office, prices have risen almost every single month. And there are 2 major reasons. One, tariffs, and a third of America's coffee comes from Brazil, which now carries a 50% tariff. And 2, labor shortages. Trump's crackdown on undocumented immigration is reshaping the farm labor force, where nearly 40% of workers are estimated to be undocumented. That's 1 million workers exiting the system, according to the New York Times. And now farmers must raise wages to pull in more labor. Those higher costs eventually hit shoppers. Economists say it's nearly impossible to quantify exactly how much yet, but the direction is clear. I'm not done. Cars are now more expensive than ever. According to Kelley Blue Book, the average price of a new car topped $50,000 in September. Tariffs have also been the biggest factor on these rising car prices, and they've been nothing but inflationary. The bottom line is that voters aren't reacting to vibes. They're reacting to their bills. And the more they feel squeezed, the more those feelings are showing up in Trump's poll numbers.
Well, this is one of those times where I don't have very much to disagree with. As you know, I'm also very skeptical of Trump's tariff policies. I agree with you that tariffs are taxes, and I think that taxes are bad. I'm heartened to hear Democratic-aligned people concede the taxes are bad. Of course, Zohran Mamdani, the newly elected mayor of New York
I didn't say all taxes are bad. I said taxes
wants to dramatically increase taxes, and so no surprise that him and Trump are getting along then. Republicans and Democrats coming together to raise your taxes, the American people. I don't know how they feel about that. One of the American people, don't feel very strongly about it. I think it's ruining our economy, and it is contributing to higher prices of all these things. My banana, ground beef, what was the other product?
What was it? Banana,
ground beef, and
coffee.
Coffee, oh yes.
Coffee is an everyday thing for me, so that was a big deal when I saw that number. That's pretty ridiculous.
I eat a lot of ground beef too.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
You're like a taco?
Yeah, tacos.
Okay.
Yeah. Mild salsa.
Okay, like Taco Trump?
Oh. We're gonna be at your little laugh for a
So
while.
look, listen. I just want to know how you rectify it. You never have to make a point that you don't agree with, right? And so you've already been clear about how you feel about tariffs. But I do think that, remember when Biden was in office, he was always trying to say, wait, the economy's not bad. Look at these numbers over here. And we're like, no, we actually can't afford this stuff. Like President Trump is doing the same thing. And
and it's going to come to the same end: electoral losses. You can't try to argue with the American people when they're suffering that it's not so bad. What are you complaining about? Quit your belly aching. Doesn't work. Just doesn't work. Even if he was correct, it wouldn't work. You have to listen to people's pain and frustration and come up with a solution. And I think the solution is perfectly obvious. Just spend less money. Just have less government control of the economy and let markets sort things out. It works every time. It always works. And government leaders always try to come up with some convoluted, well, if we subsidize this and punish this and put tariffs on this and raise taxes on this and have government do more on this and have government manage this more, it always comes to the same ruinous result. The answer is very simple, and maybe simple isn't satisfying to people, but just be hands off and let us buy our bananas from wherever, and then there'll be more bananas, and then they'll cost less. Now, the left plan is like, do you even need bananas? Seriously, I've heard people on the left say that we shouldn't be
Kinsley and I
stealing
quite like
from
bananas,
the right.
So
We're going to have that bananas is like a capitalist luxury good. I mean, it is a capitalist luxury good. There'd be no bananas without capitalism. They'd be just for the people of wherever bananas come from, South America, and the coffee would all be in Brazil. We like to trade. We give them money. They give us goods. Trade is a good thing. And I don't know why so many Republicans and Democrats try to talk themselves out of the most basic economic observation since the time of the invisible hand.
Well, one place that
trade is good and lowers the cost of things.
One place where Democrats are trying to, whatever their motivation is, but save the economy would be with the undocumented immigrants situation. Because as you see, I pointed out directly how it's affecting farmers and farm owners and the labor force in the farm industry. And these are numbers according to the New York Times. So if we're seeing that there is an uptick in people leaving or fleeing or feeling scared to work on these farms or even getting arrested, then what do you want farmers to do? They're going to bring up the cost when they hire people that cost more. And so that gets passed on to the consumers. Tariffs is one issue, but the second biggest issue was the attack on undocumented.
Yeah, I mean, that one's a little bit more complicated, even though I personally would be in favor of allowing for more immigration so that we can bring down food costs for that reason. However, there's more, I would say, government legitimacy toward policing illegal immigration than the tariff authority is A, just blatantly unconstitutional on its face, and B, accomplishes nothing but just raises prices. Many Americans would argue that illegal immigrants broke the law and thus should go back, even if it's worse for our economy. You know what I mean? There's different priorities.
Right.
Whereas with the tariffs, I guess with the tariffs, the other priority is national security. Although a lot of them can't even be defended on national security grounds because
and not relying on foreign people and goods. Bringing it all back to America. That's Trump's end goal that he thinks he'll accomplish.
Yeah, but that's
in his
just
presidency.
stupid. That's just North Korean autarky, and it just makes everything more expensive. We don't need to build just in the same way that you don't need to build your own tables and chairs in your apartment. I still care about my family. You still care about your family if you buy you're not doing it in the household. We rely on others for goods and services. We trade. That can be expanded to outside the nation with plenty of trading partners who want to participate in our prosperity and our economy and don't mean us any harm. Maybe that's not China, but there's a lot of other places that fit that bill.
Yeah, well, we've been on the same page way too much for my comfortability today.
Well, I think that's going to come to an end shortly. Next up, nurses are sounding the alarm, or what they say is another major barrier to their profession, despite a critical workforce shortage. We'll talk about it next. Stay with us.